Hey everyone, this is Rachel Davies-Sather with Blackmore Group. Welcome to my 2023 market forecast. In this video, I'm going to go over the factors that will affect our market this year and wrap it up with a local market forecast. So without further ado, let's get into it. First, I'd like to preface this video with a few things. Number one is that no agent or financial advisor has a crystal ball. The data I'm going to give you in this video is based on the leading market indicators. We're going to look at inventory levels, the consumer price index, and the 10-year T-bill. Number two, in this video I'm focusing on an overview of Durango, Colorado. Pricing homes in Southwest Colorado requires a hyper-local analysis, meaning if I were to forecast for a particular property, I would take a more in-depth approach, pulling data from a specific neighborhood of the property I'm looking at. Number three, if you find this video valuable and you have any interest in learning more about your specific street or neighborhood, shoot me a DM. If it's in Southwest Colorado, I'll pull the analysis myself. If it's in another area of the country, I will connect you with a local well-versed advisor that can pull the same data for you. Let's start off with the age-old question. Are we in a buyer's market or a seller's market? Well, according to Altos research, based on the majority of our available inventory, we are just over the threshold of a seller's market. Up until seeing this data, I would have thought we were leaning ever so slightly towards a buyer's market, based on recent negotiations on behalf of my buyers, as well as under asking price contracts I've managed to get pushed through. That being said, our inventory is extremely low. It is likely that many of the home reductions or under asking price contracts we are seeing are on homes that were priced in accordance with lower interest rates we saw early last year. In short, sellers with homes priced at market value still have a slight advantage based on our current market conditions. Now let's take a look at inventory levels. If you look at the national levels of inventory, in December, the US was up 55% from 2021, but down 33% from 2019. What we are experiencing in our neck of the woods is that inventory is down 68% from December 2019, 34% from 2021, and 70% from 10 years ago. As I mentioned before, this lack of inventory is what is giving the sellers a slight advantage. While I don't feel the need to get into all the details of why 2023 is not going to be like 2008, I do want to share that our lack of inventory is one of the leading factors. Next up, let's talk about the CPI. What is it and why does it affect the real estate market? The CPI is the Consumer Price Index. It measures the monthly change in prices paid by the US consumer on goods and services over time. It is the most widely used measure of inflation, and it can affect decisions made by the Fed regarding interest rates. According to Logan Mohtashami, the lead analyst for Housing Wire, the only way the US avoids a recession this year would require the growth rate of inflation to fall. With that in mind, let's take a look at the numbers. The most recent report was released January 12th, and it shows a decline of 0.1% in December of 2022, which may not sound like a lot, but what is meaningful about the timing of this data is that December is a major consumer spending month. To expand on this, over the last 12 months, the All Items Index increased by 6.5%. The inflation percent of the All Items Index is what the Fed is targeting by raising interest rates. Their aim is a 2% target. The good news is that the All Items Index increase of 6.5% was the smallest 12-month increase since the period ending in October of 2021. What is the 10-year T-bill? The 10-year Treasury bill is a debt obligation issued by the U.S. government with a maturity of 10 years upon initial issuance. The 10-year Treasury yield is closely watched as an indicator of broader investor confidence. As illustrated in this 22-year graph, U.S. Treasury bills, bonds, and notes are a bellwether for fixed mortgage rates. Last week, we saw a drop in the 10-year yield, reflecting both the jobs report and the CPI data that was released on the 12th. While all these trends are favorable, ultimately the Fed is not in agreement with the most recent market data. We won't know what will happen until their next meeting on January 31st, but as it stands now, expectations are for a 25 basis points hike. Meaning if you are a buyer currently looking on the market, the next couple weeks would be a good time to lock in your rate. With all this in mind, my prediction for our local housing market this year is a rather stable outlook, with inventory remaining low and demand remaining high. The levels of inventory will likely remain underwhelming due to the amount of recently purchased or refinanced properties that have locked in a fixed low rate. The majority of inventory we will see will be sellers with a life-changing event requiring them to sell. In terms of local demand, I've referenced the 2022 Colorado Migration Report by moving tech company MoveBuddha. According to their report, Colorado's broad appeal has kept its population on the upswing, ranking number 19 for most moves in versus out compared to all states. Durango placed number 2 on this list with 203 moves in to 100 moves out. On the other hand, with the Fed continuing to target 2% inflation, we may see a slight downtick in prices if the increased rates affect buyer sentiment. My goal is to produce more market update videos this year, so if you've enjoyed these last 2 videos and are interested in seeing more, please do me a favor and like this video, share it with your friends, head over to my YouTube page and click subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.